Hello and welcome to another mod showcase. Well, multiple mod showcases. Today we're going to be looking at all of Young's better mods. This is a collection of mods made by the developer Nick Young, which is made to improve the vanilla structures. So we'll keep this intro short and let's get on with the showcases. So our first mod is the Better Desert Temple. This will turn the desert temple from that little tiny pyramid into the massive pyramid. When you enter inside one of these, you actually be given the mining fatigue effect. And there's tons of spawners, traps, and puzzles you have to solve to get to the loot. And they give you the mining fatigue effect, so you can't just mine your way through, you have to actually do it legit. You also can't use TNT either because... I like this a lot because it makes you have to do it legit, you can't just cheese it like you would in vanilla. But to be fair, desert temples in vanilla aren't exactly the hardest challenge. However, the loot is about the same as you would see in vanilla, but you can go through all that struggle and get like 4 bones. But there is little other secrets hidden throughout that can make it worth it. And next up is better jungle temples. Jungle temples are a structure that desperately need an update in vanilla. They are so easy to cheese and have barely any loot in them at all. But this one gives you much better loot and it makes it a lot harder to get. It doesn't give you mining fatigue like the desert temple does, but it's still pretty difficult because of the traps, which are a lot better than the single tripwire and an arrow like in vanilla. There's also just lots of hidden rooms with loot and puzzles you have to go through that are also much better than the single hidden room you could just break into in vanilla. This and most of the structures all keep a similar shape to the normal vanilla structure, but a lot bigger, so they don't feel like they're a different structure entirely. Next up, we have better dungeons. A dungeon in vanilla is a box, and that is it. But in this mod, it's still a box, but like a little bit better because it's got like a crafting table. Isn't that neat? This one would be kind of lame if that was the only change, but that's not. But there's actually 3 special and unique dungeons for all the 3 dungeon mobs. There's one for the spider, one for the zombie, and one for the skeleton. These are where the real improvements in this mod come from. These dungeons are massive and they fit really well with the mob they're supposed to represent. For example, the spider dungeon is a giant like spider den with spawners and not really many chests though. But to make up for the lack of chests, there is multiple spawners that you can turn into one big farm. I think. I don't know if they're actually close enough. I'd assume so though. The zombie dungeon is like a giant underground cemetery type thing. And while this one does have its multiple spawners, it also has a lot of chests too, and they actually have pretty good loot. And lastly, there's the skeleton dungeon. I'm not sure what it's supposed to represent, but it's definitely the best of the 3. Skeleton spawners are definitely the best in the normal game anyway, but this one they're especially the best. There's lots of them around, and there's lots of chests that have actually really good loot. You can find diamonds, high-level enchants, and even god apples. So this mod I'd say is definitely the biggest improvement over the vanilla version. While sticking with the theme of underground structures, next up is better Strongholds. This is a very intricate and detailed improvement over the original. It is also much more of a labyrinth, so if you thought it was annoying finding them in vanilla, it is especially annoying finding them in this. But even with that, I still think it's cool. If you take a look at this thing in spectator mode, you could just see how many floors and rooms and stuff there are in this structure. And not to mention, the loot is leagues better than what you'd find in vanilla. Although, to be fair, you're not particularly going to a stronghold for the loot. It is really insane to me just purely how detailed and massive this place is. But again, it does come with that downside of it being even more annoying to find that portal. Alright, so we're going to head back up to the surface again for the next one, because this is better witch huts. This one, as you can see, is a decently minor upgrade, to try and keep that hermit hut feeling it has in the base game. But the witch hut in the base game is still a bit too simple in my opinion. Inside there's also some minor improvements. It's in an extra little bedroom with some chests in it, and a brewing stand, which is not in the normal witch hut for some reason. You would really think it would be. But of course there's still that witch with that black cat in there. But this mod actually adds an additional structure to it, and that's the witch's circle. A simple little structure also found in swamps that's just a little circle with a cauldron in it. Nothing particularly special about it, it's a witch's circle. So next up, we're going into the ocean for the better ocean monuments. This one is honestly the most drastic change from vanilla. Yeah, it does keep the same shape, but oh my gosh, is it massive. So massive that it has to spawn in the ground because the ocean is simply not deep enough for it. You still get that mining fatigue effect like in vanilla. In this one, you actually have to do some digging with it. It's still got the 3 elder guardians like normal, and the main room has a lot more sponges and better loot than normal. There's no chest in the vanilla version, but this one has a chest that is a very good source of nautilus shells. I definitely think this and the desert temple are my favorite ones out of all of them. They just seem to feel the most unique out of all of them. Oh, and one more thing about this, since they spawn in the ground, unlike most structures they would just make a big flat chunk error wall, these ones actually blend into the ground nicely, by making these more angled, natural looking walls. And now for our last overworld mod, we have better Mineshafts. Now these will obviously make the Mineshafts much bigger, just like, every single one of these mods. And yes, it also makes it much nicer, much more overgrown. But I honestly think that the best feature of this mod is the variety in it, because on top of improving the normal mineshaft, it also adds 12 new mineshafts to the game, all different biome variants of the normal mineshaft. These variants include the normal oak one, but also acacia, desert, dripstone, ice, jungle, lush, mesa, mushroom, overgrown, red desert, spruce, and spruce snowy. So now we'll go into our first and only nether one, and that is the better nether fortresses. I will be real, I am running out of things to say about these. They're all much bigger, they have better loot, and they're much better. However, this does have a big wither statue in the middle, so that's epic. This one, unlike most of them, actually really doesn't change that much. It is kind of just bigger, but it still does look cool. And our last mod is a bit different. It's the better end island. This mod improves the main end island, so all the towers look much fancier, and it adds this big church building in the middle. That again, I can't lie, kind of makes the dragon fight more annoying. It also puts this little structure around where you spawn, and it also improves the end gateways a little bit. So that's it. That's all of Young's better mods. Well, that are in 1.20 or above at least. There is a couple like better caves and better portals that are still only in 1.16 though. And I was only covering the better mods. He does have a couple other little bonus mods, but I was just looking at the better ones. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below and sub to the channel, because I have a bunch of content just like this and a bunch of more coming out. Download links will be in the description, and I'll see you guys when I upload next. Goodbye. So I was getting footage for this video, and my head is missing. I don't know how this happened. I can't move. I'm moving my mouse. Like, I can move my actual mouse, but I cannot move my head. If anyone has an explanation for this, please let me know.